If you struggle with chronic anxiety, overthinking, and rumination, and it significantly impacts the quality of your life, this video is for you. I struggled with chronic anxiety and all those things that I was talking about in the beginning of the video for decades, and in the past few years I have been on a journey, and finally I'm at a place where anxiety and overthinking and rumination and all these good stuff, it doesn't limit my life. So in this video I would like to share an idea with you that, without making any grand promises, let's just say it shifted my relationship with anxiety forever in a way that made it much easier to keep working, keep taking action in the face of anxiety, and keep living the life that I want. So there is a connection between your thoughts, your anxiety, which is essentially physiological responses, and the mind producing more thoughts. So the way it goes is you experience anxious sensations, let's just call it that, and those might be muscles twitching, right? Like one of the biggest ones for me was my eyelids palpitating, and then muscles around my forehead palpitating. And sometimes the palpitations and the twitches, they would be pretty extreme, like they would be very fast, it's almost freaky. So that happens, and then what your mind does is, because these difficult sensations are present, the mind needs to step in to come up with a story. Why? Because if we can put words to it, this is the mind's perspective. If we can put words to it, it becomes tangible, conceptually speaking, and now we can do something about it. Like we can concretize the problem that's going on and can take actions to solve it, which theoretically should bring down these physical sensations. So that is what the brain does, because the brain functions in a predictive model. As I was talking in my last video, that there are two parts of your brain, that is the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is the one that is engaged in creative thinking, making rational decisions, and doing work that's productive. It's about engaging with the present moment and being here and now and being able to observe what needs to be done, whereas the amygdala is the threat response. So these sensations are there, it's very uncomfortable, so the brain's threat response system, or the amygdala, becomes activated. And when that happens, the brain starts generating thoughts explaining what is going wrong in your external environment. So now, guess what? The body reacts even more to these thoughts, and that in turn sensitizes the amygdala and fires it even more, and the brain produces more thoughts. So this is what's happening on a physiological or a mechanical level, but from an experiential perspective, it feels like if I just keep thinking more about what's going on, I'm gonna be able to get myself out of this. So if I'm experiencing symptoms, there's palpitations, there's throbbing sensations, if I go research on Google about these symptoms and then talk about it on Reddit and then try to come up with a strategy and make a list of specialists that I have to see, seems like I would be able to solve the problem. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It oftentimes makes the problem worse and actually makes your body more sensitized, your nervous system more sensitized. And that right there was the key idea for me, that when I am having these sensations, I can't really think my way out of it. So we need to be aware of the storytelling nature of the brain and all the predictive branching that it does. For example, you have a situation coming up in the future that you are getting anxious about. Now, one thing the brain would do is it's gonna go through all these what ifs, all the different ways that it can go wrong, and then try to come up with a plan to mitigate these scenarios. But guess what? Things can go wrong in an infinite number of ways. So if you keep thinking, well, you will just keep thinking. And the more you keep thinking, the more you feed this cycle of anxious sensations leading to more thoughts, and the thoughts in turn feeding the body, and the body releasing stress hormones, which will in turn exacerbate the sensations. So understanding that the way might not be by solving the problem in the mind is key. And oftentimes we are doing all these mental activity which takes effort, and it cuts us off from the present moment for what? Nothing is actually happening in real life. It's like an athlete who is about to go to train exhausts himself out by thinking even before getting on the field. But the good news is it's actually a mental habit and we can retrain it. I have. So now, whenever my mind launches these storylines against these sensations, my natural response is to go into my body. I ground through my feet, I try to feel my lower body, and I would do techniques like box breathing and body scanning to be in touch with my body and move the energy from the head to all over my body. And that in turn has a way of diffusing the thoughts, like the attachment with the thoughts goes down and your nervous system settles down. And as your nervous system settles down, it's like, life feels good again. Oh, I can see things around me. And over time, the thoughts kind of lose its hold on you. And then there comes a point where the sensations are there, but the mind story is not feeding into it. So it doesn't get as bad. You can start looking at the sensations just as sensation. It's like, as I am talking to you guys in this video, I am sitting in Seiza, which is this posture. If I show you folks, it's like this. My knees are folded, if you can see over there. And when I'm gonna get up from this posture, I'm gonna get some serious pins and needles and I would have trouble walking for a little bit, right? But that sensation is not gonna generate a storyline as to how the world is falling apart. And eventually it's gonna pass out. That is the kind of relationship we want to cultivate with these sensations. And the first step to do that is to recognize that the mind is jumping in with a story that we do not need. When the time comes to face the situation, you'll face it and you will bring forth the most effective tool that's available to you, which is presence. So that's the thought that I wanted to leave you guys with in this video. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Wherever you are, have a great rest of your day.